Yes, sir.
Hey, bud.
How's it going?
Nice to see you. Congratulations, great job on your speech. It was awesome.
Thank you. Just kind of, well, I get comfortable when I get on.
Once you get the flow going. Yeah. I don't know if we're both building the wall.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Do you want me to get Connie?
Yeah, she's supposed to be here. Yes, Austin's going and get her.
Just,
No, she,
oh, wow.
you're what?
That was mine.
No kidding. That's the hell of a deal.
Wow.
Where does that thing score?
174.
Oh, yeah, she
That's
does.
in Iowa?
Yeah, they have some big ones up there. Show it to Austin.
I will. I showed it to him on the field. All right, we found Judy. We're good. We found her.
No, I wasn't lost.
That's all right. You can take your time. You have plenty of time. All right, everyone. We're joined now by the family of Richard Childress. Joining him is his wife, Judy, and as well as Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series drivers and his grandsons, Austin and Ty Dillon. A reminder on a couple of Richard's career accomplishments. He won 6 Premier Series championships with inaugural NASCAR Hall of Famer Dale Earnhardt, and was the first owner to win a championship in all 3 national series. That was highlighted this evening. With that, let's go ahead and turn it over for questions. If you would, please raise your hand. We'll get you the wireless mics. Let's go ahead and start over here with Wolfgang, and then we'll go to Mark.
Wolfgang Monser from Germany, Ranchford Press Agency. First of all, Richard, congratulations on the induction. You mentioned, and it was mentioned also before, we had so much success in NASCAR, especially with Dale Earnhardt. Did you ever play with the idea, after having so much success in NASCAR, to move or to look into other motorsport discipline, to start something else?
Yes, Wolfgang, we've considered it, and we ran ARCA. Ty won a championship for us, but I think you're thinking about IndyCar or Formula One or something like that. Yeah. You know, I'm not too old not to do it yet, so we may try it. Thank you.
Let's go to Mark. We have a mic. Sorry, I might have said Mike, and we'd go Mark. Sorry, my fault. Mark, and then we'll go back to Mike. How's that?
There you go. Mark Arrow, PRN. This is for Judy. I just talked a moment ago with Linda Hendrick about some of the early memories and literally helping Rick work his way through this process. And can you talk about some of the early memories? We heard about, you know, you're in the truck sleeping with the baby, he's sleeping underneath. Can you talk about some of the other things like that you remember?
Well, I know that we traveled quite a bit, and but we had a lot of fun. It was a new experience for me, and the first experience with a dirt track was real exciting. I wore all white. And I didn't know we were going to a dirt track. I didn't know much about racing other than he just loved it, you know. So we had quite a few experiences. We went to Charlotte, North Carolina, and it was so hot. It was about 100 degrees. And so we got a hotel room, a motel room, and Tina and I went to the hotel and slept. And then Richard came in and he said, "We've got to go hunt a windshield. I can't get in because my windshield is broke." And we were out hunting a windshield for his car so he could drive the next day. So we've had quite a few experiences. We went across country, and we just had great experience through our life. We didn't know any better. We just went and had a wonderful time.
Let's go,
We got to
Mike.
rent a car and took the windshield out of it.
Where'd you finish?
End of the story.
Into the Didn't you put the cracked one back in the rental car? Didn't you swap them?
No, I just took it back.
How'd you run that day? Did you do all right?
Yeah.
Good.
Did you take it back without the windshield?
No, we put it back in.
Let's go, Mike, and then we'll hit Ben right next to you.
Mike Hembry, USA Today. RC, I was a little bit surprised that James Hilton wasn't somehow involved in your induction tonight. But you raced with that group of guys for so long. Could you see a point coming that you were going to take it up to this next level with what happened in the 80s and Dale coming along and so on? Or could you just have raced until you ran out of money driving?
You know, I wasn't ready to retire. I think I was in my 34, 5, somewhere in my 30s. But I could see all the new money coming. We seen the Warner Hodgdons, J.D. Stacy, MC Anderson. All the money started coming into the sport, and I could run in the top 10 and have some pretty decent runs. And but I kept falling back every time a new owner would come in there, and I just wasn't quite having the fun I was having. And I just decided it was going to be the time if an opportunity came along to get out of the car, and that opportunity came with Dale Earnhardt in 1981.
Let's go to Ben, and then we'll go over here to Bob Pockris.
Richard, Ben White, Lexington Dispatch. Basically, real quick, two questions. One, you talked about buying that first piece of land or that first shop because of Talladega. Where was that shop? Was it in Winston-Salem or in Davidson County somewhere? And secondly, how hard was it for you to get out of the race car in 1981 and turn it over to Dale? Because that had to be a really tough decision.
Yeah, that shop was on Highway 109. It was 4,000 square feet in Davidson County. And then, yeah, it was, you know, it was hard, but I knew that if I didn't get out of the car, that it was going to get tougher and tougher seeing all the new money coming in. And the opportunity was there with Dale. We put that deal together in Anniston, Alabama. Oxford, Alabama, I guess it was back in the day in that area.
Let's go over here to Bob Pockris.
Bob Pockris,
Hey, Bob.
ESPN. Hey, Richard. You talked about, you know, a kid who sold popcorn and peanuts at Bowman Gray. Why'd you do that? Was there something about Bowman Gray that just attracted you, or did you need what I guess would be maybe the 5 cents per popcorn or whatever price was on it that day?
Yeah, you got a penny for every bag of popcorn and 2 cents for peanuts. I mean, peanuts was a penny and popcorn was 2 because the big box you couldn't carry as much. But no, I went over there. My stepdad carried myself and my brother over there when we was kids, probably 6, 7, 8 years old, probably 7, 8 years old. And we watched a race. And so we asked him if we could go back. And he said, well, I can't take you over there. I don't know if he was working or what. I said, can we walk? And it was 4 or 5 miles. So we'd walk over there to the stadium and try to hang out with the drivers and then follow somebody in or jump the fence or whatever we had to do to get in to get a job. And you might make $1, 75 cents or $1 at night. And that was good money back in those days. So I fell in love with racing. You couldn't sell nothing when you were when the race was going on, so I'd sit down and watch it, and I watched my heroes, Billy Myers and Bobby Myers and Curtis Turner, Glenn Wood. These were my heroes, not Johnny Unitas and not all the big football players and people of that era. And I knew then that that's what I wanted to be, was a race driver someday.
Let's go back to Mark.
Mark Carroll, PRN. This is for Austin and Ty. Maybe Richard can jump in on this as well. Been over the race shop before, and Richard's talked about, okay, I've got the grandpa hat and I got the owner hat. And I was over there one day and said, today it's the owner hat. I'm not happy about the restarts over the weekend or whatever. And again, for both Ty and Austin, and if Richard wants to join in here, can you talk about how he goes back and forth between those two hats and if maybe that gets blurred, you know, sometimes?
You want to take this one, or you want to start it?
Yeah, maybe it was your restarts.
Oh, yeah. So I'm usually the restart guy. But no, you know, the greatest thing is he always encourages us. And I think Mark Martin said it tonight. Our family has always gave us what we needed to do our job, and then also the encouragement of always telling us that we could accomplish what we wanted to do. But as far as the owner side of it, you know, he is a man of his word, and he's always been that, and I think he's proven that with instances throughout his career that if he says something, he's going to do it, and you expect that as one of his drivers, and I'm his grandson, and I expect it more than probably most of the drivers, because he's going to be hard on my brother and I, and more than anything, we want to accomplish a lot for him, and you know, the one championship that I got for RCR, it means a lot for me. My two, actually, excuse me, Truck Series and Xfinity Series, and the one I'm missing is the third one, and I'm going to do whatever I can to bring him that third championship, and I hope he stays on my butt. That's what I need, and I need his leadership and his drive to take us to that next level.
Yeah, I think his motivation comes from many different ways, and I think growing up around him and knowing the kind of person he is, like Austin said, he's a man of his word. That makes me want to be a man of my word. It motivates me to want to go out and say what I want to do and accomplish that goal, just like he's done his whole career. That's what he wanted to do, is drive race cars and be in this sport, and look, today he's in the Hall of Fame. Then also, you know, he motivates us by telling us to get up on the wheel, and puts the owner cap on and says, you boys got to go make it happen. So yeah, you got to see a little bit of both of the ways that he motivates us by being a great grandfather and a great owner.
He always does say, hey, we got to have some fun. But I don't know if he really takes it in when he says it, because he's walking by when he says it, but he always wants us to have fun. So that's pretty special to have a guy that wants you to do well, but he wants you to have fun doing it.
Let's go over here to Reed.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire Service. Richard, as hard as it was for you to get out of the car in 1981, how hard was it for you to tell Dale that he should go elsewhere until you were ready to win races? And were you ever afraid that you might not get him back?
You know, that's a great question. You know, I never will forget, we wasn't really ready to run Dale Earnhardt, but the opportunity was there. And we was at the old Sheraton in Darlington, Florence, South Carolina, where we all used to stay. And we sat in the car that evening, got us a six-pack, and we sat in the car and talked about it. And I just told Dale, I said, Dale, we're not ready, you know, I'm not ready to race you. You need to go somewhere and race for somebody else. He gave me his choices. The 28, they wanted to hire him over there with Stacy had just bought it also. He had two good opportunities. I can't remember the other one. And the other one was Bud Moore. And I said, Dale, I'm still looking at myself as a driver. I said, you ought to go drive for Bud Moore, because he's a racer and he'll help you all the way. And that's how that happened. And we were in a hunting club in South Carolina. And we'd get in the bunk beds at night. He'd always make me get on the top, and we'd be there, and we'd lay in there with the lights out and talk about racing and what we wanted to accomplish. And we knew we wanted to get back together. And there's a lot of things that someday I may write a book and tell. Really, you'd be surprised how all of these things, the people that was tangled in that web.
We've been trying to get him to write a book for a while, so every time y'all see him, please start pressuring him to write the book. We want to know all the stories,
here
too.
will help you
There's
write
some
it,
good
too,
stories.
Yeah.
Some I can't tell. No, it wasn't. She got on to me. She did get on to me last night. I said something in the media or something? Oh, I know what I said. I was wrong. I think I told her, I said something in one of the media about hanging out with them guys, watching them over there. Okay.
Well, before we get Richard into any more trouble, maybe we better let you go. But before we do that, we actually have a couple more honors for you here. The accomplishments of each of this year's inductees were recently recognized in Congress by United States Representative Richard Hudson of North Carolina's 8th Congressional District. Mr. Hudson's remarks honoring each of the inductees from the 2017 class were recorded in the Congressional Record, the official record of all congressional proceedings. And we have copies of those remarks for you here tonight. Also, Alan Joins from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, has declared today, and congratulations, you have 1 hour and 8 minutes left of this, honored today is Richard Childress Day in your hometown of Winston-Salem. So congratulations on both of those, and we'll get a couple photos of you with your family before we let you go.
Okay, thank you. Okay. That it? Okay.
Come on over here, we'll get some photos facing this way. We'll let Judy and the boys flank you here, too.
Okay. Got to have him in here.
That's right.
Awesome. Awesome.
Nani. Yep, Nani and Papa. Oh, shoot.
Get in here, boys, we'll get a shot here, Richard. Okay. Hang on, one more here, heads up, Yanni. He's the official. All right, we have one more, stand by. Let us know if you need us to tip it or anything.
Old Richard Childress Day.
You got an hour of it so far, you might get a free Coke or something.